Hi everybody, I wanted to record a quick video to talk to you about our plans moving forward as a church regarding in-person, face-to-face Sunday gatherings. And so to repeat what I said in our Sunday service, we will be doing online church throughout the month of July. So we will not be hosting in-person services throughout July. That means the 2nd of August is the earliest possible Sunday where we might hold an in-person gathering, but we're not committing to that date at this stage. We're going to wait for more information throughout July, and we're going to have some key conversations with trustees and leaders and other church leaders as well, and plan to see whether it's appropriate and right for us to host that service in person on the 2nd of August. But yeah, the main headline is that there will be no in-person gatherings throughout July. The 2nd of August is the earliest possible date for that to happen. Now I want to explain why we've come to that decision, and there are 4 reasons why we've come to that decision. The first reason is that the Ashcroft Art Centre, our venue, is not going to be ready in the first half of July for us to use their venue. It will only be ready towards the end of July, early August for us to use that venue. So the Ashcroft have been extremely helpful. They're very open and willing to have hirers back again, but they've asked for some time to clean the venue, get the venue ready and set up right for hirers to use the venue safely, and that's not going to happen until the 2nd of August. So that's the first reason, that our venue is just simply not ready for us to use it. The second reason is that we need some time to write a really strong plan and risk assessment for how church will work when we do gather in person. It's mandatory that churches write a risk assessment for gathering in person during the coronavirus crisis. So we need to do this, but we also want to do this in order to make our gatherings as safe as possible. And there are time restrictions in getting these things done, so I haven't got loads of time during my week to write risk assessments, so it's going to take some time to write that and to get it right. Then it needs to be approved by the trustees and approved by the Ashcroft as well. And so by not meeting in July, we've given ourselves a few weeks to write a really strong risk assessment so that when we do gather in person, it is completely safe and as organised as we can possibly make it. The third reason why we've decided not to host in-person gatherings in July is that the government guidelines have some very severe limitations. So the government have said that singing is not allowed, and the government have also put some very strong restrictions on social interaction between people coming together to be part of that service. And so, as you know, singing is a big part of what our Sunday service looks like, and socially interacting and talking to one another is also a huge part of what we do. We love to welcome people, we love to speak to one another and build relationships and to have tea and coffee after the service, which we won't be able to do. And so there are some big restrictions on what an in-person service might look like at this stage. And so if we are to host an in-person gathering and the government guidelines and restrictions don't change, it's going to look very different to what our services looked like before lockdown. And so we need to, as well as writing the risk assessment, taking time to write and plan the risk assessment, we need to plan how to make our services excellent, high quality and a really good experience. We need to make sure if we do start in-person gatherings, that in-person gatherings is a better experience than the online church gatherings that we have been doing. There are some huge benefits, even with those restrictions, to gathering in person. The power of the word preached and people being physically there to hear and receive it and believe it is an amazing spiritual moment. But also the fact that you can look around the room and see other people worshipping, maybe not singing out loud, but they're worshipping in their own way, and you can see the body coming together to worship together. So there are some profound and important advantages to gathering in person, but there are severe restrictions and limitations currently. And so July gives us an opportunity to plan an excellent service without singing and with social interaction very limited. And perhaps during July, some of those guidelines and restrictions might be relaxed. We'll see. So that's the third reason. And then the fourth and final reason that why we're not hosting services in July is because COVID-19 is very serious. Over 40,000 people in this country have died from it, and we just think it's wise to move slowly rather than rush back into hosting services and potentially spreading the disease in some way through our actions. So we just think it's wise to take our time, and by waiting until August, I think we're being wise. Now, many of you will be disappointed with that news. I know some of you on your questionnaire said that you're very keen to gather together again, and I am one of those people. You know what? Every week I have to preach to a camera, and I have to record videos to a camera, and it's just not the same as preaching to people and seeing you and being able to lead you in person and seeing how different parts of the service affect different people and all those kinds of things. I just love gathering together as the church, and I cannot wait to do it again. And so if you, like me, are disappointed at this news, I want to encourage you to do three things. Firstly, the government guidelines now allow you to invite another household into your home. So I would encourage you to invite another household into your home next Sunday and for each Sunday in July to watch the service together and to enjoy fellowship together on a Sunday. Now, if you're missing that social interaction element, you're missing fellowship, then get together with another household and enjoy that on a smaller scale in your home or in their home together watching the service. The first thing I want to encourage you to do, and I think that would be great, to really build relationship and on a smaller scale and to worship together in a smaller room with other people. Now, if you want to, you can also get a screen outside and gather 6 people together to watch the service. So there are ways of doing fellowship and doing community at this time, and as long as you stick to the government guidelines and restrictions, we really want to encourage you to explore those options. The second thing I want to say to you is that on Thursday we are going to do an outside prayer meeting where we do gather in one place. So our Tuesday prayer meeting is going to stay online, start at 7:30 and go to 8:30. On Thursday, if you want to come to our outdoor prayer meeting, you need to email me or text me and let me know that you're coming. We're then going to arrange you into groups of 6 and then email you on Thursday morning. So you need to let me know by Wednesday evening that you want to come, and then on Thursday morning email very specific instructions to each person who said they're coming to put you into groups of 6 so that you can pray together. So we will do those prayer meetings on the Fareham Park Recreation Ground, which is the field across the road from my house, next to Henry Court School, and bring a camping chair or bring a rug or something to sit on, and we're going to do face-to-face prayer meetings in groups of no more than 6. And let me know if you want to come to that. I think it's going to be fun praying and seeing each other again, staying with probably 2 meters distance between everybody, but also together and praying together. And we've never done that before, so it should be an exciting experiment. The third thing I would definitely encourage you to do, all of you in fact, but especially if you're disappointed with the fact that we won't be doing services in July, is to pray for us to open promptly again on the 2nd of August and do in-person gatherings. It would be wonderful if the restriction to singing was lifted, and it would be wonderful if we were able to host a service where there's a bit more social interaction allowed, and it would be wonderful if we would open that service in person on the 2nd of August, knowing that the risks of COVID-19 have severely dropped, and that actually the whole nation is in a really good place when it comes to that pandemic. So if you're keen to meet as I am, then devote time to prayer, saying to God, Lord, I really want to gather face to face with my church. I really want on Sunday for us to all to be together, to be able to sing together, to be able to hear the word preached together, to be able to speak to one another. Then pray for God to move mightily and to do that. If you have any questions about what's going to happen in the future, then do not hesitate to get in touch. Questions are helpful for me to clarify how people are thinking and to clarify our own thinking in terms of how we're going to do this. Me and the other leaders and the trustees now have the onerous task of reading the government guidelines very, very closely and writing a very detailed risk assessment and plan for how we're going to gather together again. But anything you can input to that would also be extremely helpful. So please feel free to ask questions or make pointers. We'd love to hear from you as always. And yeah, it's good news that the government have allowed worship services, public worship to resume. And I hope we will be able to join with other churches very soon in hosting those public worship services. So yeah, stay safe. Any questions, let me know, and God bless you all.